Hey, Mahani Sparkles. This is Madam Equilibrium, and I welcome you to today's announcement. So, what's the matter, right? We dive right away in. If you followed my path, you probably already have witnessed, especially when you took a visit to my other channels, that I have changed things. And this transformation journey continues for good. On my channel, The Cosmic Duckling, I already dropped 2 major announcements, which remain valid, so you can still check them out if you like. And this very announcement is an add-on and leans on those 2. So practically, you can see this one as a sequel, as a next step, or perhaps as an island on the way, if you will, on which we stay for as long as we need to. Okay? With this said, enough of the introduction. Let's go into it and dive through. Because the thing is, when we have to step on an island and we need to wander around or across the seagirt land, just because for being able to journey further, we need to keep in mind that there is something awaiting us, which we need to learn for good. So everything that appears on the step of the way, yes, every island, every little stone or field of grass, every tiny insect even, just everything, doesn't matter how minute it appears to the eye, has a meaning which we need to observe, perceive. Even the tiniest anything, doesn't matter if it feels comfortable or uncomfortable at first, as a gift, and honor it with appreciation out from the place of our soul's level, from our divine source. Because this is the place where our souls can just flow, be fluid and flexible, which is much easier than for our souls to surrender and survive even, while facing maybe overwhelming energies, without suffering, without exhaustion, without depression, or any other tense or dense energies which hold the power to probably smash us down, especially in this year of 2026, if we stubbornly and with that willingly stay within not serving ways of thinking, as well as energies, just because we maybe know them for so long and are used to it. Instead of just letting go, surrender, and being open and flexible. And all those overwhelming energies, my honey sparkles, have just arrived. Well, this is no new information actually, especially since the era of Libra in 2025. Spirit loudly but lovingly called to recalibrate, to check on our energies, to cleanse, to free ourselves from heavy burdens which we unnecessarily carried for far too long. Let go of any kind of not serving things, to properly rest, to ground ourselves, and all that and more, just to find our balance, so that we can't fall out of balance and freak out when, for example, an overwhelming energy is overflowing us. Because Spirit, of course, knew and knows what's about to come, what we are about to face inwardly and outwardly. So especially since Libra, Spirit lovingly supported us by somehow friendly, but not just, with knowledge, skills, light, and love, in order for us to break out of human-generated restricting boxes and come into action for good. And until the last day of 2025, Spirit continued to, let's say, bump knowledge into and onto us, only and just for the sake of being properly prepared for 2026. My honey sparkles, if you don't know what I'm talking about and what I mean by mentioning Libra and Co., you're very welcome to check out my translations on this channel, starting from the era of Libra, including all new moon, full moon translations, as well as, of course, all zodiac era translations, until the last video of 2025, which was the farewell and welcome translation. I know there are many translation videos to maybe look up and listen to, but don't be scared or worried about the duration of the videos. They partially seem long at first sight, I know, but they aren't. The channeling parts in which I translated are usually about 10 to 30 minutes. The rest of the videos are tiny gifts left for you as an additional altar or ASMR bonus. Apropos bonus, a little side note. On January the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, I dropped helping tools, aka friendly butt nudges, for the energies of 2026. In those, you find guided meditations as well as some first tiny element bending techniques, which you can use the whole year of 2026 and of course way, way beyond. So yes, you can come back to those anytime you want or need. Talking about schedules, the mentioned helping tools were scheduled, yes, but you maybe recognized or missed that I didn't drop out a full moon translation, which would have taken place on January the 3rd, 2026. And I want you to know that I will no longer continue with those kinds of translations. Don't worry, I will not end channeling and translating once and for all. What I mean is I, for myself, close the era of scheduled translations, okay? This includes all full moon, new moon, and specific translations for the era of each zodiac. But this doesn't mean that I cut off any celestial events or close the gates for their energies. No, of course not. We still indeed need them to translate properly. This means that in all of my upcoming translations, I am not going to focus on one specific celestial event. I am going to let the flow flow, how it flows, and translate for you as it flows. Therefore, you can expect anything and everything flowing and melting into one another all at once. Bedo, here is one exception to be just, because we have two zodiac eras left, which are Aquarius and Pisces. And to make justice for all zodiacs and to complete the full cycle of the astrological year, I am going to channel and translate for Aquarius and Pisces as well in 2026. Because we started the astrological year with Aries in 2025, which you can look up on my other channel, The Cosmic Duckling. And of course, I will complete the astro journey with Pisces in 2026 on this channel. Otherwise, there wouldn't be justice, and I don't like that. To point this out, those two are going to be the very last officially scheduled ones. Therefore, I hope you listened to Spirit's callings and are prepared, because what I can tell you now at this point, as I already received the pictures from Spirit, is that with the first day of the Aquarian era, the energy of 2026, which is already fiery, will fully kick in. And everything that's coming at us now will happen ultra fast. Yes, it's been very fast and tough already in 2025, but be sure 2026 is getting even faster. that you might feel dizzy from it if you don't keep your solid ground. Speaking of solid ground, maybe you should listen to my Capricorn translation of 2025. There it's all about how to stay solid on crazy grounds. You can learn so much from our Capricorn goats. Well, even our Saggies got grounded in 2025, and I don't mean arrested in any way. I just mean energetically grounded by the solid Capricorn goat energies. Well, maybe you should listen to the translation of the era of Sagittarius as well. Told ya, my sparkles. At the beginning, I told you that everything is built up on one another, starting particularly with Libra in 2025. But just listen to everything, starting with Libra. As I said at the beginning, just listen and everything will make sense. And what can I say? What can I say? If someone can stay solidly grounded, Capri can. Just the facts, period. Okay, coming back to the kick. How will it kick in? Well, what does air do to fire? It enhances it, right? At least on planet Earth, right? It happens just naturally without any other external influences coming in. No, not needed. Just need a little Aquarian air, and here we go, boom. Now Pegasus meets Phoenix. And here we are in 2026, up-fired and hopefully not blown away, thanks to our also hopefully created balance, which Spirit wanted us to build properly, so we are able to stand solidly grounded right when the first up-firing boom kicks in. Okay, so yes, there lies a high risk of getting burned away by immense fire, just like that. See, even the biggest wave isn't able to douse this year's fire energy. And there is no negotiation opportunity either. Well, you can of course blow out a regular flame with your breath or with water, but this isn't a regular flame or fire. It's an immense fire. So it's either or. Either you fight and try to stubbornly fight against the fire and probably get burned away by it, or you stay in the middle without any judgment and just surrender to the energies of fire and just even dance with it in appreciation and with love, which is the way of the safest survival, by the way. Remember, at the beginning when I told you about the element bending techniques that I released for you, this is just like that. Here we go, looking a bit closer, as element bending means not controlling it. On the very contrary, rather it means to first be aware of it, to accept and respect it, to appreciate it, and then finally tapping, aka dancing into its energy, and so be one with it in a synchronized dance by having found your very own pure mightiness within your core. Shortly explained, this final stage is the bending part. Yeah, let me give you some examples, okay? We know that the monks know, and especially Buddha knew about this interplay of energies. But if you want to have a more modern example, just think of dancers approaching each other. let's go with rock and roll dancers, okay? They do exactly the same. They are aware of each other. They accept and respect each other. They appreciate and trust each other. And then they finally tap, aka literally dance into their energy, and so they are one in a synchronized dance by having found their very own and aligned spirit as well as mightiness within their common convergence. Another example is martial arts. They also know all of that. So they of course know that they can only stand their ground and succeed or even survive when they are in alignment within and without. Yeah, just saying Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san. I could have spared you this whole explanation if I had just said Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san. That would be enough explanation, wouldn't it? You get the picture. Let's continue with the announcement part, my peeps. Knowing that Aquarius is the first official sign entering the year, and keeping in mind that the first day of January 2026 started with the energies of Gemini while being in the era of Capricorn, we need to be aware of the huge effects which have already started to manifest on this planet called Earth. As for the air energy of Aquarius finally fully activates the fire energy of the fire horse. So yes, you need to be really prepared for the celestial butt nudge and also fully aware for the divine equilibrial ride. Yay! Okay, at this point, long story short, no schedules anymore. And as I mentioned, I don't give up on channeling and translating for you, my honey sparkles. Well, actually, I can't even, because it is my purpose on this sweet little planet, and I know I'm not perfect. I'm also still learning, absorbing, processing, and healing. But from now on, I channel and translate right in the very moment without being restricted by any schedules or other human-generated programming that are neither in alignment with my soul's essence nor with divinity trying to reach out to the souls that are in need and are trying to listen. And therefore, on this planet, I need to use words, right? Because this is how we communicate here on planet Earth. Well, at least should truly try to communicate, right? Generally speaking, communication is one of the few beautiful creations humankind has ever invented. This is the way of how we all come energetically together and connect to one another with our brothers and sisters from around the world and far, far beyond. Let's switch the point of view for a sec, okay? We have technology through which we communicate and stay somehow in touch. Yes. But without the ability to use words, letters, and numbers, all technology would be just useless, right? And so I am sure that we are on the same page by saying that truly authentic as well as genuine communication is pure art. Language is a sacred gift without limits, and words are not restricting us by nature. Because even when we come to a point in which we maybe struggle to find the right word to express our feelings, for example, we are able to just create a new one right in the very moment. And that's beautifully exciting, right? Isn't it? To right away in a snap of a finger, create something out of nothing, but just with our very soul source, our spirit. But even though the art of creating meaningful sentences out of words is an amazing playground, unfortunately, this beautiful ancient playground is getting more and more misused and violated for nasty purposes by also nasty creatures on this planet. Heads up, don't get mistaken by that point. Here we need to look closer and make this point very clear, because within a maybe careless, inattentive, and perhaps stressed out glimpse of a second, this can happen also to good human beings without any bad intention at all. Well, why? Well, easy. We are all in a process of learning how to communicate properly without being hurtful. So yes, even the good ones can unintentionally drop out something nasty. Beware again. Here we have to differentiate, because the nasty ones do this on purpose and are feeding their also narcissistic ego, while the good ones feel bad, regret it mostly immediately, and apologize. Language. We don't want a dirty playground and a bad language, right? Why should we? Why should we? To make a long story brief, well, maybe you have already recognized it, because I, for myself, personally, always decide to play on a pure sacred playground. Meaning, when you listen to my translations, you will catch a variety of language playgrounds, aka topics melting with one another. The languages and phrases coming from spirituality, ancient cultures, supernatural and paranormal fields, alchemy, magic and witchcraft, art, psychology, astrology and astronomy, poetry, technology, as well as, of course, love, etc., etc., in its purest form. And therefore, we can meet a variety of sensations on our sacred language playgrounds. Those can be playful, factual, ethical, just flat, humorous, psychological, sweet and bittersweet, poetic, heavy, serious, direct, hurtful but beautifully true, sensitive, psychic, calm, wise, occult, mysterious, enlightened, uplifting and grounding, as well as lovingly magical. Okay? Well, we can't put magic in a box or schedule it. Did you ever try to put magic in a box? Doesn't work, right? Just doesn't work. So consider that data and calendars are made up by humankind, but energy doesn't lie. It is all about what humankind did in the past and still does interpret into things, even into astrology and astronomy, etc. Talking about astrology and astronomy, through astrology and astronomy, we had and still have the great chance to learn and gain knowledge since ancient, far, far away times. But the great but is not to restrict ourselves with the given or newly learned information and knowledge. It is all about how we as human beings landed on this strange place and tough planet, decide to act on it. When we decide to overrun given ancient knowledge with self-created restrictional and stressful things, aka data or rules, or what we think is data. Keep in mind that thinking is an earthly habit. We start to voluntarily we start voluntarily, to overrun our own existence, our very individual book of our very souls. We write our own destiny and are destined to get stuck in those not serving earthly thoughts, which are controlling us as well as making us into easily influenceable marionettes for external, suspicious, and corrupt forces who do only act on the basis of their very own ego and greed instead of love. You want to be forevermore someone else's puppet? I believe not. And this is what Spirit doesn't want for you as well. Why do you think Spirit is calling so loudly? Spirit wants us to be safe and sound even when things are wildly turbulent around us and maybe within us as well. So balance is the ultimate key for reaching divine enlightenment. And all this, we don't want to make all that up by ourselves. We don't want to end up on a self-designed wasteland in which we are not even able anymore to absorb and feel into our very soul's book of equilibrium, do we?